Over the last several weeks, we've heard many stories about Russia's invasion in Ukraine. We thought this morning we'd focus on the effort to help here, the people who are bringing people to Calgary from Ukraine. Lina Boryets arrived in Calgary last week along with her son Timur. They're staying with Larysa Ma, a member of their family. And both Lina and Larysa join us on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dave.
So nice to hear your voices, and thank you for joining us bright and early this morning. Lina, I'm going to start with you if I can. When did you decide it was time to leave Ukraine?
Pretty fast after we suffered from bombing our cities in Ukraine. It all started on the 23rd of February, and we left on the 5th of March.
Okay, and you're from Dnipro, is that right? Is that the town you're from?
Yeah, I'm from Dnipro still. They hit some strategical points in Dnipro, the airport, some plants, yes.
All right, Dnipro, so our audience knows it's about 400 kilometers southeast of Kyiv, so just to help locate that for folks. Larysa, you saw this going on. Were you in contact with Lina at the time?
Yes, we were with our family and my sister who lives in Vancouver. I guess we offered our help and our homes to stay here, but I guess in Ukraine, a lot of people just didn't believe that the things will progress to such a bad point that the invasion, full-scale war, will actually happen.
Right.
The nations of Russian and Ukrainian people are very closely related, often by family ties, and it was almost inconceivable to think that one will be, killing and unleashing full-on war on the other.
Yeah, and then we all saw what happened. Lina, tell me, how did you get out of the country? What was that? What was the journey like?
Oh, it was, it was an ordeal, I would say. We got on an evacuation train, and it took us almost 13 or 14 hours, I'm not sure, from Dnipro to Lviv. It's the city which is very close to Polish border. And there were a lot of people. The train was really overcrowded, and people had to even sleep on the floor. Only women, mostly women and their children. Yeah. Yes.
And while this was going on, where you were making your way out towards Poland, Larysa, were you able to help in terms of I don't know, even just figuring out ways to get flights to get the next leg of the trip?
Well, we tried to find people in Poland that Lina and her 7-year-old son Timur can stay with, and luckily, Polish people really stepped up. The volunteer effort was immense, and there was a family of strangers that took Lina and Timur in to live with them in their house at no cost, provided them with all the necessities for over a month, that we immensely grateful to them for that. And we were working on trying to help them to open visas to Canada, because it wasn't even a matter of just, hopping on the flight. It was, Ukrainians needed the visa and waiting for that special authorization to become available, and helping them with money as well. Western Union, apparently made a very quick job out of transferring money. So we were helping financially, helping logistically.
Thank you, Larysa.
This has been full time, I understand, for both of you making this happen. Lina,
it was a lot of work, and we kind of tried to also help. Lina, don't give up. It will happen. It will. Things will be okay. Don't despair. But Lina also had to do a big part herself. She had to go to Canadian embassy in Warsaw several times, take a few hours train from the place where she stayed, and it was super long lineups in the embassy. If you can imagine that the embassy is swamped right now in Warsaw with so many applicants. And Lina can tell you about her experience of standing in line all day, not knowing if she's actually going to get her papers today or come up and start the whole procedure next day.
It took me 3 days or so, and I came back again and again, and still there were long lines, and we had to wait for 3 days.
With all that uncertainty and all that unknowing, Lina, you heard that your son Timur is what, 7 years old? Is that right?
7 years old. That's right.
How did you explain this to him? The long train ride, the time in Warsaw. How did you explain this to him?
Oh, in my case, I tried to protect him from this stress. That's why, I told him that we were on a trip. I said that we are the two travelers, and we are going to take a great adventure together. And he believed me. So he thinks that we were having a great adventure.
Well, it's an adventure. I don't know. I don't know if you'd agree that it's great. Larysa, what was that moment like when they finally came off the plane?
Oh, it was a huge relief. Yeah, because when they flew in here on 19th of April, it's exactly when we were hit with that big storm, and it was a long wait for them. And while we were waiting for them, there was a lot of Ukrainians actually coming off that plane, and I was surprised that there was no actually really like a volunteer organization actually waiting for them or meeting them or directing them, giving directions, because we kind of had to assume that role because they saw us with Ukrainian flag there, my family, and we were trying to help to give directions how to transfer. One family with a really young daughter couldn't find a cab to get to a hotel, and because the weather was dreadful outside, was just no cab. So my husband was parked nearby in a pickup truck, so he just gave them a ride, and it was, when he came back, so that's actually a good thing that they went with me, because the roads were so bad that the sedans, smaller cars, just were getting stuck in the snow.
So,
And pickup truck had an advantage, so he delivered them safely to a hotel. There was another family that waited longer for Bulgarian family to come and pick them up, their relatives. And we also ended up with another mother and daughter refugee from near Bucha that's supposed to be picked up by their friends to Edmonton, from Edmonton, but they could make it there, obviously, through the roads. So, and they have no place to stay and limited financial resources. So we also ended up taking them in for the night. And it was an interesting night where we came home, pulled out food on the table, and pulled out inflatable mattresses, and had a very interesting, kind of chat.
It was so noble of you.
Yeah, well.
So a Ukrainian flag.
Yeah.
So
they
decided to come up to Larysa because she was holding a Ukrainian flag.
And thank goodness you were there. And welcome to Calgary. There's a snowstorm, and I can recall what that was like on that day. But Lina, I know you're relieved to be here. I know how happy you are to be safe here with your son. But a part of you must be thinking about your home and your husband. Can you tell me what is that like, and what's next for you? Do you know?
When this is a very touching point for me, because my husband is far away from here, and I know that he's in danger, as well as the rest of our family. And I'm happy to be here, safe and sound, and especially because my son is also happy here. But I'm frustrated. Yes, because I miss my husband so much. Yes. We try to keep in touch. We text messages because the time zones are different. And when we wake up early in the morning here, he goes to bed there, and vice versa. But sometimes we arrange calls, and we just, we look at each other. And I've never seen my husband crying, but now I see sometimes.
Wow.
Yes.
Is it your hope that he'll be able to join you here? Is that the goal?
Yeah,
now?
I do hope. I want it so much. And I think this is, it will be the happiest moment of my life.
Okay. Lina and Larysa, thank you so much for joining us to tell us your story this morning on the radio. We wish you all the best from here. And I'm sure for many listeners this morning, this was the story that we all kind of needed to hear to understand what you've been going through. So again, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
All right.
for having us on the air, and have a great day.
We will. That is Lina Boryets, a Ukrainian refugee who arrived in the city last week along with her 7-year-old son, Timur. They're staying with Larysa Ma, a member of their family, who also joined us on the line.